This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, we don't pull any punches. Alongside me is Rob and Sakura A. How's it going, guys?
What's up?
Sleepy. Help me wake up. Give me some good news.
All right. I don't know about good news, but let's talk some boxing here. We don't have a lot coming this weekend. Not a lot. But let's talk about what happened in this previous weekend, guys. Let's start with Richard Torrez Jr., because I know we have a different of opinion, apparently, on this. Rob, I want your take on it first.
His style is not awkward. It's bad. It's just bad. He lunges in. He doesn't set anything up with the jab at all. He's wobbly out there. Defense is terrible. Yeah. And yes, he has knockout power, but the opposition isn't that great at all at this point in his career. For him to be an Olympian, he obviously had a good amateur background, and he still fights amateurish in the ring. People are heavily touting this guy because they want to see the knockouts, but it's only going to succumb as the competition goes up further. He reminds me a lot of a earlier Berlanga. Once Berlanga got tested, he couldn't knock these guys out.
Wow.
And this guy's tools are even more diminishing than Berlanga. So I don't see how he's going very far at all.
Okay.
Yeah, damn. Like, really? You're going to go in on Richard Torrez, 6-0 prospect. You're acting like he's like been in professionals through like 18 fights and still has bad habits. Like, the whole point of having these step up like fights and staying busy fights is so that you can like grow in the professionals and transition from amateur style boxing. And also just to recap, like when you have an opponent in front of you and you know you're gonna have your way with them, are you really needing to do so much defense? Are you really needing to hone in on this and that when you know you're about to like KO somebody? Point blank, period. Yes, Torres has power. That's true. But as the competition gets bigger, greater, they're going to have better chance. So, that verdict is out for me. But I know that right now he's looking like he's a great knockout artist, which all fans love. And not only that, he is a former Olympian. I think that he's not rising to the level of skills that you want to see right now is because, like you said, the level of competition. However.com, he is only 6-0. Like, this is the problem with boxing fans. Like, you want to be like so unnerving and so hypocritical, hypersensitive, critical towards this particular boxer when the guy is growing and learning as he go and transitioning from amateur boxing. So, I just think you're going in a little too hard on him, Rob, for him to be brand new in the sport.
Yeah,
brand new in the professionals.
That's true. Rob, for you, is it because he's an Olympian? Is that what's doing it? Because 6-0, we've been to the club fighter stage, right? Hammond, right? We would be up there. We would be with Gary. We'd be seeing people that are 6-0, right? And fighting worse competition than what we're seeing Richard Torrez fight. But it's okay for them, but it's not okay for Richard Torrez with you. That's what I'm trying to see what's going
simple. On. He fights just like a club level fighter. And he's being touted as a prospect now. And he fights like a club level fighter. It's simple. There's no fundamentals in there. There's no skill. It's just look for the knockout. That's it. And the opposition that he has in front of him, they quit. This guy he had in front of him on Saturday pretty much quit. He didn't want to be in there in the ring after he tested that power the first time, and he got the knockout. And any talented guy who can box would have been able to last way more longer in the fight than that.
Do we know
I
that
don't
though?
know. We don't know that.
Yeah, we
Yes.
don't know that.
I mean,
All he
but
had
you're
to
saying
do-
he's like a prospect and you're saying he's like a club boxer. First of all, there's nothing wrong with either one of those statuses. Second of all, prospects means under 18 fights, under 16 fights at least. You don't start being considered a contender until way deeper into people's boxing careers than what he is right now. So, like I'm saying, like, dude, give him a chance to like even get 10 fights before you start fucking hyper criticizing him.
No, let me tell you like this. Nico Ali Wash wipes the floor with this kid.
Okay, they're not in the same weight divisions, but okay.
That's how.
Do you still think that, even though they're not in the same weight division? Because
I'm just saying
Torrez
for
Jr.
you, what are you trying to do? You're trying to like make light of Nico Walsh, who doesn't have an amateur career. Like, I mean, what are you trying to?
Exactly. He doesn't even have an amateur career, but he has more skill set than this guy. This guy looks like he came off the street. He has power. He has pop. But he looks like he's in a damn tough man competition. Okay?
Well, not only that, he's a shorter heavyweight too. So he has to do a couple of unorthodox things in order to get his man. Because a lot of those heavyweights are going to be taller than him. I mean, that's just a fact, especially in this day and era where you have 6'7" and 6'5", etc., etc. So he's on the shorter end of that. He's more like a Mike Tyson size. So he's going to be doing things that seem awkward or seem like they're not textbook in order to get his guy. What I like about him is once he does have somebody hurt, he's got the killer instinct to try to go and get him. There is nothing wrong with that. I don't know why you are hyper criticizing this young man who is like trying to learn on the job now. And let me just point out one more thing, Lucas and Rob. Amateurs is quite different than professional boxing. And that's why you need a transition period. Like, this is not the same thing. We were just talking about the Salido versus Lomachenko fight. Me and Javi was in the group chat. And all that amateur experience Lomachenko had, he got in there with Salito after his second professional fight too soon. You have to have a transition period. And Salito did exactly what he was supposed to do as a professional boxer, experienced professional boxer, which is show him what professional boxers can do different than you can do in the amateurs. So this is what this growing and learning period is all about. Same situation where you're learning on the job with the professionals and you're transitioning out of that amateurish type behavior.
Well, learn on the job off TV then. Shit.
He got a KO, so you expect them to just not focus on the fact that he's KOing people. That's why he got the airtime. He got the airtime because they knew he wasn't going 7 rounds with this guy or 8. They knew that. They knew it was going to be some KO action, so he was able to make the main card. That's the whole reason, is the KO power and the fact that it's not going to eat up too much time. So when you have a different prospect and they're able to KO people, including Nico, who was doing the same earlier in his career, they're going to give you the TV time. That's what the fans want to see.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting knockouts and he's looking good doing it. It doesn't matter that the competition is not that great when he's only 6-0. Now, if he's still fighting this at 16-0, then we need to have a little discussion.
Right, correct.
But yeah, I mean, give a little bit, Rob. Give a little bit.
Yeah, just a teeny little bit.
Shit.
I think you should at least wait until he's 10-0 before you start shitting on him,
He's gonna be 10-0 tomorrow. He's still gonna look look the same.
I mean, I'm just saying, you just doing a lot right now.
Let's talk Gary Antoine Russell. I will admit that I did not see this fight. So tell me and explain how it went, because I've been hearing nothing but good things.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, he got him out, I believe, by a body shot, and he was swarming the guy through the whole fight up until the stoppage.
The whole
So
fight that lasted, well, how long? 2 minutes, something like that.
yeah,
I mean, all I gotta say, one word, one descriptive word: vicious.
yeah.
Vicious attack from the beginning. Vicious body punch. Fast, quick hands. Very much skill. Like, it was not even a comparison. It was just like so overmatched. But that's the way it is when you're, coming up the ranks. Like, you got to take these opponents that they give you. So for me, I was impressed because I like viciousness. Like, that's my thing. That makes me like a boxer more when they got that extra edge. So I mean, for me, I was like really happy. Gary Antoine Russell is not going to have easier opponents as he goes along. He is going to be facing at 140-pound division. Those players are not there to F around. They are going to be way rough. The better he gets, the better competition he gets. And I can't wait to see some of these matchups at 140.
Well, he's 17-0, 17 knockouts,
Yeah.
17 straight knockouts. He fights more often than his brother. And to me, he has he might even have a little bit better skill set than his brother, being the fact that, like Shakur said, he's vicious, he has a killer instinct, and he has a good ring IQ. You combine all of that, ring IQ, uh, power, and speed, you
Yeah.
got a dangerous threat at at the 140-pound division, which is stacked, which is great because he can get in there and kind of mix up the division.
Definitely, but it also kind of still hard to judge by this competition. I know he's undefeated, but still hard to say where he's at. I'm looking forward to a litmus test for him. We need that measuring stick for Russell.
By the way, that would be the time when you can be more hypercritical of a boxer when they get 17-0, Rob.
Yeah, now's when you should have actually been saying that more about Russell than you even were about Torres.
Yeah, you were
Because
supposed to critique
because
him harshly because
a
he's at
17
17-0, contender status now.
because a 17-0 fighter with skills, or even a 6-0 fighter with skills is worth talking about.
Yeah, but you didn't
Torres
do all
Jr.
that hypercritical.
Torres Jr. is not worth talking about right now.
Well, you sure had a lot to say
He's
for
not.
him not to be talked about. But either way it goes, like, you wasn't hypercritical on Gary Russell like you was picking and choosing on poor 6-0 Torres. Just saying.
Because the man can't box
Every
at
time,
all.
every time I agree with Sakura, I'm putting that back up there. Yeah.
The man
Oh,
can't box.
there you go. I gotta remember to put that every time then.
No, I could just keep pulling
I'm
it
gonna
back
do
up.
one that does thumbs down on certain topics then.
All right, let's talk Navarrete. Who picked Valdez?
Who did?
Somebody
Was
picked
it
Valdez
James,
last
maybe?
week.
Oh, you think it was
or
James?
Hobby?
He might have. Yeah.
Was Hobby picking Valdez, or everybody picked Navarrete on our show?
I thought one person did pick
Yes.
Valdez, but I'm pretty sure, to me, I mean, Valdez looked a little defeated, or not look defeated, like literally, he looked a little mentally defeated, is what I should say. And I think he knows now that he should not be up there at 130. I mean, I don't think that's his division. His punches are not that effective at that weight class, dealing with bigger boys, bigger boxers at that weight class. And it's been shown, like, 3 separate times, I believe. I mean, we had the Shakur fight at 30. Then we had him fighting, more like a warm up or you know, getting back active fight, which he didn't look that hot in. And now we have Navarrete, who, definitely dominated the fight most rounds. Maybe the mid rounds he looked a little bit better, but those were rounds where Navarrete was seeming like he was, a little bit more fatigued. So I don't know how much of that was Valdez dominating versus Navarrete taking some rounds off. So I just say that to say that I would like to see him. I know the money is not there. That's the big problem with people moving up in weight, is they're trying to get bigger fights for bigger money. But when you're losing, 3 fights or 2 fights in a row, not in a row, but you've lost 2 fights out of your 3 fights at 130, and you didn't display any power. You weren't impressive in any of those 3 fights. It's time for you to think about going back down and weight, where you can have some success. That's my take from it. That's the main thing that I saw, is I just don't feel like that is his weight division.
Yeah, I actually think I picked Navarrete to stop him. That didn't happen, but you got to admit, he outworked him. Just like I said, he would. He outworked him. Not only did he outwork him, he severely outworked him. He threw 602 more punches than Valdez did. 602.
Mm. That's like some heavy punching, combinations, and they were accurate. Like he was, I mean, you saw by his face how accurate that was. It a left hook that he kept landing on the
The lead
right
and
side? It was, or was it yeah, I think it was a left hook that kept landing on the right side of his face. That eye was so, I mean, I thought it was an orbital bone breakage. To me, that's what it looked like, the way it was swelling underneath there, but and completely closed his eyes. But Navarrete did more than just win that fight. He took the wheel out of Valdez. He looked,
Mhm.
and he broke down crying in the locker room. And I like when they show this, um, not because it's embarrassing to the boxer, but because boxers in general and the fans need to know, like, this is a part of being a boxer. It's like things don't always go your way, and you have to have that mental fortitude to want to continue boxing after you're not having your way. So I was glad that they showed that, it's very emotional when you're losing and you've done everything you can possibly do with your training, with your different what do you call them, the trial runs that you do, the sparring, all of this goes into it, and the food, missing your family, like, and when it doesn't go your way, it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I feel
He
like
did.
they don't put enough emphasis on the fact that it takes a lot of guts, will, and determination to be a boxer, whether you're winning or losing.
He
Um,
he did everything he could in the ring. He gave it his all. That was
yeah.
a hell of an effort, valiant effort for Valdez in a fight. He was out fought. Period.
He was
Yeah.
And
he was
and
outworked.
it's definitely fight of the year candidate, just like I said it would be.
I don't see that.
ESPN
It
Uh,
was not.
ESPN
No, it
headlines
wasn't.
it.
It wasn't competitive enough to be that. It had
ESPN
some great
headlines it as
moments.
a fight of the year candidate. My dad called me at the end of this one and said that one was fight of the year. You have two combatants that, which we talked about going into the fight, it was a major style clash. It was. And exactly what I said needed to happen to make this fight had to happen. You had to outfight your opponent that night. Strategy was out the window. There was no adjustments that could be made. There was no game planning. There was no head games. None of that. That was just my will, my determination is bigger than yours. And that's what happened with Valdez. which is why the emotion came out at the end of the fight, because he really did give it his all, and it's discouraging because his all wasn't good enough. Navarrete, put him up there, top 10 pound for pound.
That's bad matchmaking. I kind of saw it this way. I thought Valdez was going to get beat up. That's why I was surprised last week when we saw this. Vegas is usually on the money, but Navarrete being the underdog kind of surprising. But he was leading with the uppercut, right, and just splitting the guard every time. Valdez couldn't do anything about it. Yeah, he had the will, but it's like no changes were made, guys. Valdez, he didn't have game plan B. It was A, keep going back out there, A. You know what I mean? Nothing else was changed. Now, I don't want to throw Valdez aside. I do think he's a good fighter. But stylistically for Navarrete and fighters like Navarrete, Valdez is going to lose every time.
Lucas.
Yeah, I just feel like... Oh, go ahead.
Not a lot of people in this division are going to be able to fight with Navarrete, period. Because he throws all them punches. He throws a hell of a lot of punches. And the only thing Valdez could have did differently was run from him. Okay? And that's not Valdez's style. He's a true warrior in the ring. He's not going to just run from the guy and try not to get hit.
Well, I mean, there's more options than just run. I mean, he could have tried to set some traps. I heard his corner telling him to feint. I don't recall any feinting whatsoever, even though his corner was begging for it. He didn't do anything different. So, yeah, you're going to lose. You stop listening to your corner. You go out there like a robot. You keep repeating the same mistakes. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to lose.
He don't belong at that weight class. It's just, that's what it is.
I think Valdez needs to change trainers.
He hit him with some clean shots. He hit Navarrete with some clean stuff, and it did nothing. It's no effect when you out of your, you're out of your range. But also, you're right. Roble was his coach prior to Reynosa. Okay, Reynosa is the popular trainer, no doubt. He needs to go back to that Burchelt look, where he was outboxing and out slicking his opponents. And that would be Roble. That's Coach Roble. I don't think he has the type of power that he needs to be with a Reynosa style camp. Okay, he's used to a Canelo type. He's amazing at training a Canelo type of boxer that has, supernatural power and speed and blah, 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 and can just come in and be aggressive 24/7. Like, that's not what Valdez looks great at. To me, he looks great in that Burchelt type fight where he's out boxing and out slicking, using his jab effectively and having his power punches feel like power to his opponents.
Well, when are you going to be honest with yourselves and just admit Valdez is not an elite fighter?
I don't know if anybody really
How you
ever
say
said
that when
elite.
he beat a Burchelt? I mean, he knocked him completely out.
Burchelt is retired. He's
now
done.
he is. Yeah, that's right.
Done.
Valdez retired him.
He had war after war prior to that fight.
But that took this fight with Valdez to retire his ass.
Valdez hasn't beat or
Valdez
shown up.
has great skills. He's just not using them anymore.
He has not shown up in an elite level fight yet.
At 130. Again.
And if you're going down in divisions, you're weak as hell.
You know what? Just stop. We're not about to have that conversation again.
Yeah,
where everybody under 130 is crap to you. We're not finna do that.
Look at the power range. They don't have power on those lower weight classes. They don't. And Valdez don't have it either.
I mean,
I'm just
because I'm right.
No, it's not because you're right. It's because I'm never going to be able to change your mind about something that you decided before I even knew you.
Where does Valdez When has he ever shown he has that type of power at this weight class? I actually agree with you.
I
He
just
doesn't.
said at 130 he isn't going to be able to compete with
That's
these
what I'm
bigger
saying. I
boys.
agree with you. He doesn't have power at 130, and if you're continuing to go back down because you don't have the power, I don't think you're going to be an elite level fighter
I mean,
anymore.
he didn't continue to go down. This would be the first time he went down in weight.
No, but
If
you're
he
calling
goes
him to
down in
go
weight,
back down again.
I just feel like if you're not going to win at this division, why would you stay at that division when you can be lighter, you can move faster, and you can be more powerful at 126?
So at 126 right now, you think he's good
I mean,
better
he could
than
at least go after Brandon Figueroa. He could go after Schoolboy. He would have a big fight with
you think he
Schoolboy Fulton.
you think he's better than those guys. You think he's better than Figueroa. You think he's better
I
than
don't know. That's what makes that a great fight, right?
you think he's better than Robisi Ramirez.
Right.
You
These
think
are great
you think
tests.
he's
These are
better
great
than the
tests.
monster.
I have no idea if he's better than most of the fighters you mentioned. I'm pretty sure he's not as good as the monster. That's an easy one to say. But the rest that you said, we don't know.
I don't think he's better than any of them.
We will have to wait to see on
Okay,
this
well,
because
I think that that's something that, like I said, those are great fights that could be waiting for him if he goes down one, right?
maybe Valdez is a one-hit wonder, but we're gonna have to wait and see. I mean, I think he definitely needs more step-up fights. I think this one was a setup to fail. That's why I said bad matchmaking for poor
And they
Valdez.
wanted to
It was
have a
terrible.
trilogy. They wanted to make this a trilogy. Did you guys hear that marketing?
Well, I
I'm
mean,
like, why would we have even a rematch? This was not even close.
clearly people thought it was going to be. I mean, I'm gonna pull it back up again.
I mean,
The
I
the
thought it was going
odds,
to be
the
better.
odds. Yeah, I mean, everybody thought it was going to be a lot closer than that. It just wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, it's bad style matchup for him. I think it doesn't matter if they fight 100 times. Navarrete's winning 99 of those. So maybe one of those Valdez gets a lucky punch. But let's not only talk about Navarrete's skill, but his ability to take the punches. Valdez landed some good shit, right? He did. He landed his own shots. Navarrete shook that shit off.
Yeah. I said he landed some clean stuff with the countering.
Yeah.
That would have worked on Navarrete had he been, more powerful. If he's at his true weight class and he hits someone with that type of clean punches, counter punches that they don't even see, he's winning. So, to me, that's what I think the issue is. That's just my opinion. Nobody has to come for me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, Navarrete's been down before, came up off the canvas and won by knockout. He has heart. He has chin. He has a warrior spirit and a warrior's mentality, which is why he's so damn tough to beat.
I mean, but I think that Oscar Valdez has a warrior mentality. I mean, who else fights with their eye damn closed? One of their eyes is not even functioning. He's still swinging. The last 2 or 3 rounds, his eye was closed completely. Like, I mean, that's warrior mentality. There's nothing wrong with this man's heart and warriorism. The only thing that's wrong is he's at the wrong weight class. Okay.
Well, no, he doesn't have enough power.
But I think
That's
what
what's
you
wrong.
hit on with Navarrete, with how he looked in his last fight, I think, Lucas, that might be contributing to how those bets came in.
Maybe.
Like they were thinking that we were going to see that Navarrete, who was, who didn't have much energy after a certain round. They thought that they might see that type of fight. And he was in shape. He was ready. I mean, he did what he had to do to be prepared for this fight.
For sure. Okay, now how do we go from here? Like, where's Navarrete going? Where's Valdez going?
Well, Navarrete now, according to ESPN rankings, is now number 1 in the division. So, and you look at the record, 38-1, beat Valdez, who's ranked number 3 in this division. you look at all these other guys, there's really not any names in this division in the top 10. However, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is only Navarrete's second or third fight in this weight class. What is it? Second?
Second. Yep.
This is who's what are we saying here?
Yes,
Yeah,
second at 130. Yeah.
This is his second at 130. So he's new to the weight class. I don't know if I want to see him up yet. Maybe kind of rule this division for a little bit because his ticker is getting up there. That's 38-1. That's a lot of fights. The next division up, there's some killers. There's some killers there. So you have to tread lightly. So maybe another fight or two in this weight class, and then possibly a move up to 135.
So you don't really care to see him be undisputed at 130. You just want to see him go ahead and move on up. I agree. I mean, there's not enough there for me to say that he's not undisputed already for the most part. I think he can go ahead and move up, but I agree completely, Rob. I mean, he does need at least one more fight before he's able to go up to 135. I'm not sure if he's ready or if he will even be ready after 2 or 3 more fights. That's just how he feels, I guess.
Who else he can even fight at 130? I mean, because Shakur is already at 135. I mean, who else is at 130? I'm trying to just.
That's the issue. So
who
the
else
other
has
belt
the other
holders,
belts?
the other belt holders is Hector Luis Garcia. We all know him because he got knocked out by Tank. The other one after that is Robinov. He has a belt, but he lost a fight to a guy who's 16-0. And then another belt holder, right? Whoever has a belt in this division, everybody else in this division is really no names. There's really no names up here right now.
Yeah, 130 seems to be one of those transitioning type divisions where, you know, you're just going in between the lower weights to getting to 135. That's how I feel like it is.
Like, honestly, Valdez and Navarrete are the 2 biggest names in this division.
And no wonder they wanted them to fight like a trilogy because there's nobody else at that division, and it would have took up several years of their contract, right? So I'm just feeling like I don't know if the public feels the way that Rob and his dad does, that it was a great matchup and a great fight. I really just don't know if Valdez is up for a repeat on that.
I think that's bad news here.
He didn't look like he was too excited about doing a rematch. But, I mean, maybe he can be talked into it because there's not that much money at 126 either.
But listen, even if he does decide to move right up at 135, matchup with William Zapata,
not a good idea.
Cruz,
that's a good fight.
Even Cambosas. I would love to see those types of fights. And I'm naming off some of the lower ranked guys.
We're talking about Navarrete now. You're talking about him moving up to 135?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, and Shakur. He could have a Shakur fight too. Navarrete.
Well, that I would definitely want to see him fight 2 of those other names before he tries to go out.
Well, of course. I'm just saying that's another additional name that you have at 135 that you wouldn't have at 130.
Right.
I mean,
I guess we could grab those other 2 belts because both of those 2 names that you mentioned were champions at 130. Don't really seem like people that would be able to withstand a Navarrete type of fight. Hector Garcia, you mentioned?
Hector Luis Garcia. I mean, yeah, the number ranked 2 in the division is 16-0, and I've never heard of the kid.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those two, he might be able to get undisputed in a 4 belt era if he does decide to, take those two fights if they can make it happen. So therefore, it's just only whether he wants to go ahead. If I were him, I would get that on my record. I would want that undisputed status while I could get it, because there's no way in hell that he would be able to accomplish that at 135.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of clever matchups, especially for his matchmakers at 135. One
Very true.
Cambosis for sure. I think
Top
that's.
rank guys, just say top rank.
I mean, yeah, but stylistically, I mean, it's not. Cambosis and Valdez aren't that far apart, so I think he could really shine that in that fight and really have an outcoming at 135. Um, where did they go? Who else we got? Isak
Cambosis.
Cruz, that stylistically might be bad for Isak. So
Yeah, see, now that's a situation where Isak wouldn't look that good. I don't see them wanting to make that fight.
right.
Plus it's so much size difference there.
Mm-hmm.
But then that Cambosis, I mean, that's like feeding an Australian kangaroo to a to a African lion, you know what I'm saying? The way he's been looking lately, you're just giving Navarrete a bigger platform when you let him fight over in Australia, with a Cambosis or something. Like, you're just gaining fans that way. I don't know. I just feel like I would grab them 2 other belts. That's 2 extra fights that his can be won, and for Navarrete, and then move it on up. Have some money fights.
Yeah, I mean that's the way to go for sure. Definitely agreeing with you there. Whether it goes that way or not, we'll have to see.
We don't know.
That's
Yeah.
that's the smart thing for them to do for sure. And Valdez, what are we doing with Valdez? He needs to rebuild.
Yeah, I think he needs to regroup. He needs to heal his body. I think he needs to heal his mind. And I think he needs to go down and
The
fight those.
126.
Yeah, and fight the people that Rob was mentioning that
Right.
would, offer some type of curiosity in the boxing fans' mind. And a Figueroa fight would probably be pretty big. That's 2 Mexican fighters, 1 Mexican American. Let me make sure I say that. For the real Mexicans come after me. Same blood though, guys. Y'all need to stop that shit.
I think he really needs a significant fight. If he just goes down and wins, it's not going to mean much. He needs a name, and he needs it
Yeah.
bad because right
Needs a
now
name.
he's looking like he got lucky against Burchell.
Yep.
That's
Or
what
I think a Cool Boy Steph fight would be awesome, but he's at 122 still. Is he ready to move up? Maybe so. But if Cool Boy can come up, and he just had a loss, and Valdez just had a loss, and they meet up in that mid range of 126, that might be a big fight.
Maybe.
Because they got similar styles a little bit. Well, if Valdez goes back to Roble. It would be similar styles.
Yeah, I think that's best for him. Let's hope he does that. Right. Let's change topics now. AJ takes out Helenius.
I almost forgot about
But
this.
was it still a bad performance? Let's talk about it. So every time AJ fights, does it stand for AJ today, Rob, or is it standing for something else?
I don't have much to say about it because he did what he's supposed to do. He got the knockout, and it wasn't impressive. No.
Lucas
I don't think
what I'm thinking, which is that you're thinking, Rob,
It
that
was.
it is
It
an
can't be.
ass juice moment, and you're
It
trying to
wasn't.
avoid the fact that you used to call him that.
Listen,
And it might have been a prime
I don't-
opportunity to use it. I mean, you said he did what he was supposed to do, but we were talking about Helenius, okay? This isn't a world beater.
I can't blame him. I don't like the fight, period. I don't like the opponent. I don't like the way all of this transpired and happened. I don't like the fight, period. What was supposed to happen happened in the fight. I can't.
No,
Period.
no,
I can't
no.
give
You were
him credit
supposed
for
to
that.
call him ass juice, and for a good reason. Okay.
No, there's not a good
Yes, there is.
reason.
There is a
Lucas
good
baited
reason.
you right in because he said, "What does it stand for? Does AJ still stand for?"
I lobbed it up for you, and you just
Yep.
said, "Get that shit out of here."
It's
You
not.
wanna
It's
listen.
not his fault though. You can't
The
blame
fuck it
him.
ain't. Oh,
wait a minute?
The
Hold on
opponent.
just a second. Okay, it's not his fault, but you're gonna tell me that at 6-0, he's the one that decides who his opponents are in a fight at 6-0. But now that we're talking about AJ, now it's not his fault.
We had
Helenius fought a week ago, and he went 7 rounds with AJ. You gotta be kidding me, man. Hey, AJ's all like bruised up, and I mean, he got worked over.
Helenius, we all talked about that. Helenius ain't no chump in the ring now. He got experience too.
When he just fought last week, though,
And he had a third round KO.
he'd had a week's notice to prepare. You can't tell me
I don't
that
have
this
much
was
bad to say about this fight. AJ knocked him out. It was a one punch knockout highlight reel. And that's all the people. And that's all the people cared about. There are more pressing issues.
Unbelievable. I Lucas, I am like, I don't even have words right now because this man just talked so much shit about a 6-0 prospect, and now he's gonna just like roll over and have nothing at all bad to say about AJ's performance when it came to taking out Helenius because he did what he was supposed to do. Well, guess what? That 6-0 Torrez, okay, he did what he was supposed to do. Now, let's see about you doing what you're supposed to do, which is really critique Anthony Joshua's performance. And you can start with the fact that he was very, very timid in that fight and acted as though he was scared as hell to get knocked out with something.
Again, it's a bad matchup. It shouldn't have happened. Why would I want to risk getting hurt, cut, knocked out by a guy like Helenius when I should be fighting bigger opponents?
So let me ask you this. If he was that scared and timid of Helenius, which, by the way, I don't think he's a bad boxer. I think he's a decent boxer. But he did just fight the previous weekend and knock out his opponent. So we're not talking about a chump here by any means. But if you think that he was a little timid with Helenius due to not wanting to get injured, then what do you think will happen when he's fighting someone with better skills, better power, and more time to rest in between his fights? What do you think is going to happen?
Simple. We'll see a better AJ.
I'm done.
What are you talking about, Rob? I don't even see the fight with Wilder anymore. Everybody's like, "Oh, expect it later this year." Hell no, it ain't. After he just got beat up by Helenius, that ain't happening.
Let's see what Javi thinks about this particular fight. Rob has nothing bad to say about AJ's performance, by the way.
I mean, I don't blame him. You know, he got the W. Yeah, it wasn't pretty, and definitely there's a few flaws that can be exploited. But I'm with Lucas. I don't think that fight should happen. Not even this year. Leave it for next year. You know, let's work on a few things they need to work on, because not taking away nothing from Helenius, but if you're think that you're pretty much playing it safe against Helenius, then Wilder at the end of the day he might not have the boxing skills of a Usyk or Tyson Fury, but that power's still there, and he can lose the whole match, clock you on the 10, 11, lights out.
I just feel like Wilder, it doesn't have any opponents that are lining up to fight him right now for him to have been used goods, apparently. I just find it interesting that Ruiz still hasn't agreed to the fight. He can't make an AJ fight right now because they think he's got too much power and AJ's not ready. We all know that's a cash out fight for AJ. He's gonna wait until he's out of opponents, and then he's gonna fight Wilder as a final fight, I believe. Now,
I don't know.
just to
I don't think
say,
it'll ever happen.
Helenius, on the other hand, he gets in there like a warrior and he takes on all these heavyweights. He didn't turn down any fights. He's the one. He did get caught, okay, no problem, but he's at least willing to take these bigger named opponents on. So there's nothing for him to be ashamed of whatsoever. But this AJ situation with him still acting and kind of doing, I'm sorry, he be doing some weird ass shit. He's saying, "Oh, let me do what I want to do." Like, you're hopping out of the ring. You haven't even said or hugged or did anything with your trainer yet, and you're hopped out of the ring. You're all down there and taking pictures and shit with people and all this kind of stuff. You haven't even talked to the announcer yet, and everybody thinks this shit is normal. Like, I need somebody to speak up and be like, "What the hell is wrong with him?"
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know. I was
sorry.
thinking that too. I think he's got CTE going on or something.
There you
I don't
go.
know. He ain't act right
He
lately.
ain't act right. You're right.
And I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't see it anymore. When he beat Klitschko, I saw a champion. I don't see
Yeah.
this anymore. I don't see him beating A-level guys anymore. I think if he fight Andy Ruiz again, Andy Ruiz is taking him out. I honestly just don't see anyone near the upper echelon that he can take out anymore. I think AJ has fallen, and right now he's just a people's champion. He's
Which
gonna
is
make
nothing wrong with a
No.
people's champion, right?
but he's gonna make money no matter who he fights. So there is no reason for a Wilder fight to happen. It won't happen because he knows deep down that that's an embarrassing fight for him, right? He's not going to take those big fights. He may take another fight like an Andy Ruiz fight, something that's a little bit more of a safe fight, but still got some money to it. But any big guy like that or a Fury, it's not happening. I don't think so. Fury may happen only because it's worth so freaking much money. I mean, that thing is that's like a number one pay-per-view seller. I mean,
Well, Fury is not interested
Javi,
in fighting
were,
champions right now either. He's interested in MMA boxers, fighters. So I mean, that's off. I feel like the money fight right now for AJ, especially since the Saudi Arabian boxing community is interested in making that fight. They got more money than freaking anybody else to make that fight happen. That's money you can't turn down, guys. And I don't care how much money you're making in fights like AJ. You don't want to turn down that type of money. Now, this year, I'm with you, Lucas. Hell no. Like, don't even try to put him in there with him. But I feel like that's why I feel like that's like a defining, cash out type of fight where you're done after that, because there's no way Wilder is going to be in his face. He's going to be thinking about him turning down that money years ago. He's going to be thinking about his Eddie Hearns, treating black folks like they're dumb. They're going to be thinking about that too with the money aspect. He's going to be out for some serious retribution. And so that's a fight where I see AJ being laid out at some point. And they need to stop trying to act like this man doesn't have some type of CTE damage going on.
Yeah, I don't know. The way he acts is definitely not normal to me.
Well, I'm glad that somebody else is willing to say something, because people, including major media, boxing media, they acting like they don't want to bring it up.
I mean, just the Usyk fight after the last Usyk fight was enough for me to be like, damn, something ain't right.
That was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, that was bad too. That was.
Definitely.
He stole that moment from Usyk, who was the winner and deserved to be able to say what he wanted to say.
Yeah, that was bad. But at the same time, I that was something that I was trying to say, Lucas, but I know I was on mute. I feel like both the AJ fight and with Wilder and the one with Tyson Fury, I think they both kind of correlate in the way that, depends which one he faced first. It will affect not just the purse, but the expectations and the I guess how he goes about it. If he fights Fury first and he loses bad, he's not gonna have a good confidence to go and face puncher like Wilder. So he's probably not going to go that route. But if he wins against Fury, let's say, then we probably can see the best AJ riding high against Wilder. Now, let's say the other way around. He faces Wilder first, gets knocked out. Definitely, he won't be ready for Tyson Fury. They probably won't put him near there, and it probably will be a fight that we'll see at the end of the career when it's like a cash grabbing type of fight.
Yeah, or the fight might not happen if he gets knocked out. Yeah, the fight might not.
I mean, it's a dangerous fight for him, especially if he does have some severe stuff going on. That's a dangerous fight for him. I don't think that his team is going to want him to take that extra type of knockout power from Wilder. However, it is something that major people are interested in, and it's going to make a lot of money if it does happen. Whether we as the boxing fans think that we know the winner already. I still want to see this shit happen, guys. I want to see this fight because it's been so many years of us wanting to see that fight. They're both in two different phases of their career than they were when they were initially trying to, make that fight. But it's still a situation where I want to see it. I don't know why.
Maybe I'm on the loan here, but I don't even want to see AJ fight anymore. There's nothing, and I don't mean that as disrespect, but it's just for me. Any of the top ones, like you said, you still want to see those fights. For me, I don't. I mean, I already know. I
only want to see that one fight.
You don't.
I don't want to see Wilder. I don't, because I already know how that's going to end. I already know how Fury's going to end, and we've already saw Usyk. We've already saw the others. I mean, maybe like a fight with Areola. I don't know.
That's definitely a no too.
I mean, this is who I don't think he can get past anymore. I don't have any faith in AJ to get through those.
Here's Lucas. I don't mean any disrespect. The disrespect. Okay? The disrespect. Okay? Anthony Joshua's problem has and always will be his psyche. That's the issue. He's jumping outside the ring, taking pictures, acting like he's the biggest man in the sport because he needs that to boost his confidence because his psyche is so much damaged that he has to act like that. He doesn't know how to act any different because his confidence and his psyche is just damaged. The biggest question for Joshua, or for people that should be asking, because the skills are there, both fundamentally, and he has pop, he has power. The skills are there. Who's going to be able? Because they've been used sports psychologists. They have them now in there with Derek James, so they've used multiple trainers now. What's it going to take, if possible, to get rid of that confidence and that psychological damage that's been done to him? Because that's what's really hindering his career.
I don't know about that either. I mean, his ability to take a punch has lessened too. I mean,
yeah, I think
he got cracked open. Once that seal's broken on some fighters, it never goes right again. And that plastic jaw's got cracks in it, and it's just fraying and fraying and fraying.
Well, let me tell you something. That Derek James camp, that training team, their sparring is real. Like, I mean, it's not for somebody that just wants to dance around and, say they fight, they're sparring or whatever. Like, they go at it. So I don't know if that's the best thing for AJ, but I will say that Derek James has tried to focus on the things that are good about AJ boxing. it's kind of sad because he got like the perfect body for a boxer, and he has like, knockout power. He does have those things. It's just, getting him to be in there and be confident and to, really hone in and focus. I don't think that focus is there during or throughout a fight. I don't think it's there. And I think he's timid. He's very timid of getting hurt again.
I mean, a good way to put it is, period, for the heavyweight division, it's the lion, it's the lion's den of boxing, right? And what do you have when you have a lion's den? You have to have a king. You have to have a master. There's always a lion, one particular lion who rules the den, right? And that's what's interesting about this division is you possibly have or had at one point 4 lions in this den, right? And they all were trying to establish dominance, which I feel like everybody feels that Fury is ruling the den right now, but we still haven't seen Fury. AJ.
No, I feel like Usyk is running the den, and he's not
And
even
he
a
ain't fighting no
real,
damn body.
and he's not even a real heavyweight, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And he's running the den because he's got the damn titles right now. He's got all the belts, the championships,
Uh,
and then you
and
got Wilder, which I feel he's still running some of the den because people are avoiding fighting him still. He is still having problems to secure opponents. That doesn't happen if you're like vulnerable. People don't want to fight you. He's got one nemesis in the heavyweight division, and that's Fury. Other than that, he's not concerned with these other guys.
yeah, Wilder's got that one hitter quitter, so people are always going to be afraid to to jump in there unless there's some big money involved.
That's
But
why I like Helenius. That's why I appreciate him.
yeah, I think there needs to be a finishing, and I would love to see Usyk versus Fury, Usyk versus Wilder. I think those fights need to happen. The Anthony Joshua fights for me just they just don't matter to me anymore. I don't see a point. But
I do
uh,
have one quick question though for both of you
Yeah.
guys because I'm very curious about this. Had and let's just hypothetically think if Dillian White had been in that fight and it was the same AJ that we saw in the Helenius fight, what do you think the outcome would have been?
well, especially since he was juicing. If he didn't get caught and juicing, he might have took AJ
Wait a
out.
minute. No. We're not going to do the juicing. I'm saying hypothetically, if he was able to fight, as in he was clean and he was in there with this particular AJ.
I think AJ has a good chance of losing that fight.
He could have been in trouble. He could have been in trouble.
Yeah, because I feel like Dillian White has a great right hook. Like it's not like Helenius. I think it's like, I mean, and he's hurt Joshua before when they fought. I mean, and I think he would have been hungry to like literally beat him because he didn't get the win in the first fight. So I think that it probably was a favor from the guys that he ended up fighting Helenius instead.
Yeah, he AJ. Every time I see him now, he just looks more susceptible, and he actually just looks worse overall. Like, look like the boxing IQ goes down. He looks like everything has diminished with this guy.
Well,
Damn.
the major issue I see, and I'm going to use another analogy, it's like when you're in a dog fight, what's the worst thing that can happen to you? You don't engage, right? You don't want to engage. You're in a dog fight, you have to engage. It's life or death. And when he's in the ring now, he doesn't engage. The IQ is still there because he got that knockout with one punch. And that was a pretty knockout. You can't take that away from him. But he's not willing to engage, so he's getting beat up. He's looking bad against lesser and lesser opponents. And even in the Usyk fights, same issue. He wasn't willing to engage, and he just got beat up, and the knockout never happened. So That's really the biggest issue.
Well said.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I agree.
Let's come back to this because it's been a long time, Rob. It's time for Rob's rapid fire.
In honor of the upcoming football season, what's the big thing people want to do in football, right? Fantasy football, right?
Oh, okay.
Let's have fantasy matchups.
I was gonna say the biggest thing is the snacks.
First of all, I don't have any snacks. Okay, the cheerleaders, you brought up a good point. NFL, y'all need to show the cheerleaders more. Okay, we
Yeah.
can't see them on TV. Damn the reality shows. I want
They
to see
used
them
to show
on
them
TV.
more. You're
They did
right. They
used to
used
show
to
them
show them
more,
more,
yeah.
especially the Dallas Cowgirls. They were like a big, part of the football game.
Well, that's
Yeah,
because
you're
the
right.
actual football team sucks, so they had to show it.
Well, I don't know about that. All I know is that we did used to have more eye time, eye candy time with the cheerleaders. So I agree with you, but I do feel like with football, you need some great snacks to watch them. You know what I'm saying?
That's for sure.
So I want to go to a hot topic of ours in Canelo Alvarez. So you got pretty much two divisions right now, I would say you could play with for Canelo. What are your top 5 fantasy opponents that you would like to see Canelo fight?
Whew, and what weight divisions can I go with?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So you have the 168 and you have 175.
Okay.
Okay. Light heavyweight and super middleweight.
Right. I mean, obviously, Beterbiev. I've been saying that for a long time. I don't
And
think
that
it's
would be
ever
your
gonna
number 1, right, Lucas?
Probably, yeah. I don't think anything.
I
could beat
guessed
that.
it.
I really wasn't
Well-
into this particular fight, but I felt like, since I'm seeing Canelo not wanting to actually confirm this fight or go for this fight, I'm gonna go with Benavidez.
That was gonna be
Okay.
another one of mine. So yeah.
Well, top
you-
5. Let's go, Lucas. Your top 5.
Okay. Oh, well, can I pick Benavidez now? Because I mean,
Yep.
she already said that.
No,
So
you can't.
I got Benavidez on there. Part of me wants to see a Bivol rematch, but I don't know. That's kind of iffy. Let's just go ahead and put Bivol rematch on there.
At what weight? Just curious.
Make it
That's a good
175.
question.
175?
Because he's talking 160. I mean, shit.
I
no,
want to see it at 168
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Let's
to
do
be more-
168. Just
Okay.
because I think stylistically, and it's to prove, because Canelo's walking around being like, well, that's because I was at his weight and I dared to be great. Well, motherfucker, I don't think you would have won at 168 either, okay? It's a bad style matchup. You would have lost that fight too.
Mm-mm.
Mungiao, I wouldn't mind. I think that's just, it's weird.
Yeah. Okay.
Just stylistically, I want to see it. The only other one I'd like to see is maybe a catch weight, but I know you ain't doing that. Catch weight with Crawford or something like that.
You can put that on there. Crawford catch weight. Okay.
How many is that?
5.
There we
Okay,
go.
repeat those again.
So Lucas has Beterbiev, Benavidez, Bivol at 168, Mungiao, and Crawford at a catch weight. I'm assuming that's somewhere between what weight?
It'd probably have to be like
160 is
It'd probably have to be 160, yeah. And you know what? That would be an L, an L, an L, and maybe, I don't know, that last one with Crawford and the catch weight. My problem is I don't think Canelo's leaving 168 for anything, for anybody.
If he's gonna catch weight, he need to catch weight at 155, his favorite catch weight.
I don't think there's any way in hell he can make 155 again.
Yeah, no.
All right, let's
I'm
go with
just saying.
Shakura now, because there's one last question I have with this.
Okay. obviously Lucas had a bunch of B's that he was gonna put him against. So my top picks was Benavidez, Morrell Jr. I think I want to see him finally fight Andrade. Let's see, who else could I pick? Well, I do like the idea of a better BF fight. And let's see, that leaves one more. Let me go with I'm gonna go with the other Charlo. I'm gonna go with like you can't fight one twin and not fight the other. Like I need to see him against Jamal Charlo since we're gonna see Jamel. Now I gotta see how the other twin does. So that's my 5.
So for mine,
I'm erasing Crawford and put myself so I can win some millions.
Yay! That's what I'm talking about. Get that payday.
you are crazy as hell for that one.
You'll get knocked out too for X amount of
Oh,
dollars.
yeah. I've already got some concussions. What's one more?
And I have no concussions, and I'm willing to go down for a meal.
Right.
So for mine, we obviously have it very similar, but for mine, I have, of course, Benavidez.
Okay.
I also have Bivol rematch.
Okay.
And for that one, I actually want to see it at, I agree, I want to see it at 168.
Okay.
168.
I have, surprisingly, I agree with this one, Lucas. I want to see Mungiao.
Yeah.
I do want to see that fight.
I guess I'm not on that train. I'm just like, nah, I don't see that. I mean, that's a Canelo win. But go ahead.
More than likely, but it's going to be a rock'em sock'em for a while there.
Maybe or maybe.
I think it's just. I think it would make good TV.
I think Mungiao showed me something. That's why. I really do.
He got some heart now. He got some heart.
I didn't want to see him fight the other Charlo. So I do want to see him fight the other Charlo brother when he's out of rehab, though. When he's out of rehab.
Well, of course, we're talking about the best of these boxers. That's when we want to see it.
Yeah.
And then to finish it off, I want to see him fight. Never mind, I ain't gonna say that. I was gonna piss y'all off.
Say it. Nope.
Too late now.
Let's hear it.
I want to see a 4 fight with Triple G. Okay, that's what I want to see.
Nah.
I want to see a 4 fight with Golovkin.
What if he was what? If he was like 5 years younger, you want to see the rematch?
I just want to see it again. I want to see Golovkin.
It would be a quad, not a triple, but a quad.
Yeah.
I want to see him beat him, but if I couldn't get Golovkin,
yeah,
my actual kind of like where Lucas was going with this, but I'm gonna put it futuristic. I would like to see Boots Ennis get to that weight, and I would love to see Boots Ennis versus Canelo.
He could get to that weight. Obviously, he could get to that weight. He has some size on him.
That would be like my future fight that I would want to see. Crawford with Boots, in my opinion, would be amazing. Crawford's skill set is levels above, but power-wise, though, like just straight power, I like Boots.
Okay.
He's not fighting, like lower competition. Like you said, Torrez was?
No, Boots has been in there with limping nets. Limping nets is no chump.
He's been in there with no one that can offer him real opposition, is my point.
There's
So
still a
he's
big measure.
supposed to look good. He should look good. No fault of his own, though. I will say that. No fault of his own. Now,
Yeah, y'all said it about Crawford
you
this whole
said,
time, and look
you
how good
said,
Crawford is.
right, exactly. It could be that situation, or it could not be that situation. We need to, in order to validate these feelings of, amazingness that we feel for Boots, we got to see it. Like, we got to be validated in our thinking and what we think we see when we see him boxing. But it's easy to look great against opposition that's not up to par for you. Not saying that they're not great boxers for other people to be matched up with. Just saying you got some boxers out there that are look a little more special. You're gonna have to see them against something that's also special. So I
Yeah.
agree with you with the Bud situation. Now the Canelo situation, I mean, we got to envision him being able to be at 168, and we got to envision Canelo being actually around for him to get to that weight. And that's what the hard stretch is for me. Like I
Yeah.
don't think Canelo sticks around that long.
Now, Lucas kind of touched on this a little bit. So, Lucas, you think better be if that's a loss for Canelo?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You think Benavidez is a loss, you said?
more than likely.
Bivol
That
at
was a closer though. That was a lot closer.
Oh,
Bivol?
you're saying Canelo would lose that fight, or you saying
Canelo would lose more than likely, but
to
I
Benavidez?
think it's more of an even fight than a lot of the other ones.
So, Bivol at 168, is that a win, possible win or a loss?
That's a loss. Bival's got him no matter what. Bival's got his number.
Mungiao?
That one I'm not sure on either.
That would be a matchup. That would be a close matchup,
Yeah.
I feel.
It's 50-50.
Okay, and Crawford at a catch weight.
I'd actually probably favor Canelo a little bit going into Mungiao. Crawford at the catch weight, especially if he's draining, that could be a loss too.
Okay, Shakur, Benavidez.
Canelo can be flat-footed, and I see Crawford turning his ass nonstop. So
Yeah, Canelo is great at just like letting you run around and expel all your energy and waiting till later rounds and bam, when you least expect it. So I don't think he can play that game with a Bud. Like, he's too smart in that ring. He's thinking about every possible thing that you could probably try to do to him. He's like 4 steps ahead of his opponents.
I personally think that Bud fight could go a lot like Mayweather, but
Mayweather and who?
Canelo.
Oh, and Canelo. Yeah, you're right. But with more punching. It would be more punching though.
yeah.
So Shakura, Benavidez, is that a possible win or a loss for Canelo?
I actually get that one to Canelo.
Morrell Jr.
See, that's a young hungry lion. Like he's ready for some big catches, as they say. So I'm not.
It's a big jumping competition for Morrell.
I can't tell.
Yeah,
Not sure. Okay.
Experience, Canelo gonna come in with the experience over Morrell, but Morrell is gonna have all this young youth on his side and that Cuban pedigree. I know he's a beast. I know he is. I just know it in my heart, even though he hasn't been able to prove it yet. So, for that particular reason, I will go with Morrell on that one.
Oh, you gonna go with Morrell? Okay. Andre.
See, I think Andrade might have some luck with Canelo because he's getting older and he doesn't really particularly like boxers with Andrade's style. And so that might play into Andrade. So I'm gonna go with Andrade on that one.
he would win technically, but in reality, Canelo's gonna get that W. We already know that.
Oh well, yeah, because it'll come down to the cards.
Yeah.
Like if you took coming down to the cards, the judges.
Because Andre ain't knocking him out, so yeah,
Right.
you're getting screwed on the points. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't see him knocking out a Canelo. I mean, that man has an amazing chin. Canelo got an awesome.
That's got a
chin.
chin.
Yeah, nobody can take that shit away from him now.
That's true.
So I don't see that happening. So it would be a technical type, rounds outboxing someone in rounds type of situation. Okay, who else?
Better Biv.
I did say better BF. That's like Will versus Will. I'm gonna go with Canelo on that one.
Ooh.
And then Charlo, the other Charlo.
The other Charlo is difficult. I don't know. I really think that's a good matchup, to be honest with you, because he's a big middleweight that should be 168 pounds by now, right? So the size is there, and he does have power. Is it enough power to knock out a Canelo? I don't know, because Canelo got a great chin. I don't know on that one. Like, I think I can't say on that one. Who would y'all say?
I'm about to tell you because he's on my list.
Oh, he's on your list too?
Yeah. So Benavidez knocks his ass out the ring in Undertaker style, okay? Benavidez all the way. And let me tell you, Canelo, you're playing with the youngster. He's pissed off. That doesn't bode well in your favor when you do have to fight him, because you're going to have to fight him.
The longer you wait, the worse it is for you.
Bivol rematch at 168. I think that's a loss for Canelo. Munguia, I think that's a victory for Canelo. He wins that one. Okay. Charlo that I have at the rehab, I favor Canelo. I think Canelo wins that fight. And he might, it really depends on how he looks against this other Charlo coming up on the 29th. Because
but I do think that this Charlo is a better boxer. And we know he has late round power.
Yeah. And then I think he beats Bruce Ennis to end his career on a high note. That being said, last question, very simple, guys.
So you see him winning a fight against Boots?
Boots, yeah. Do you think these fights will happen, Lucas?
No. At least not most of them. I would say
mythical.
After everybody that we mentioned, maybe 10% of those fights have a real chance at actually formulating. I don't think there's a chance in hell he fights Better BF unless Better BFs are getting ready to hang him up. The other Charlo, that's definitely a possibility. I think that's their plan.
That's in the plans.
I think that's their plan anyway. And again, he's fighting smaller opponents, so it is what it is. So that's a good possibility. Munguia is a possibility. But the rest of them, I don't think are going to happen at all. Definitely no catch weights.
You got to bring up catch weights with Canelo, don't you?
Yeah, got to.
Shakur?
Yeah. What are we at? Benavidez.
Do you think any of these fights can happen?
I'm going to think that's an X. That's a no. Who I got next?
Morrell Jr.
That's a no. X. Okay, go ahead.
Andrade.
Possibility.
I don't think so.
Because he's a small 168 pounder. He's more of a middleweight, but he had to come up to get competition, to get some fights.
Better be.
But he got some height on him though. Who was it?
Better be.
That's a no. I don't see that happening.
Nope.
And then obviously you think Charlo is definitely going to happen.
Right. So I could see him fighting an Andrade, and I can see him fighting Charlo, the bigger Charlo, Jamal.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, he's not bigger right now. The bigger fighter now is the Jamal. since he's preparing for this fight. But hey, it's possible. Those two are possibilities because they're both PBC fighters right now.
So for me, Benavidez, an emphatic hell no. Bivol rematch. I think that's going to happen. I think that is very possible for a Munguia fight. For a Bivol rematch. That's very possible. That definitely probably should and will happen in the near future. Munguia, I definitely think that can be possible maybe late towards the end of his career if Munguia was able to stay unscathed. Because after this 3-fight deal, he'll probably go back to DAZ and take a couple of those. Charlo, of course, is definitely possible. And listen, I'm very optimistic here. I think Boots is going to be something. I think he can get, like Shakur said, he can definitely get to that weight, to meet Canelo. I think that's a possibility. I think he could fight Boots.
I mean, anything's possible.
Especially considering he loves to pick on smaller guys.
But I don't think it's possible because he's not going to leave. I mean, he's not going to leave welterweights without getting something. Then he has to go to 154, and then you'd have to count on Canelo to go down to 160. I don't see all that happening.
There might be too much time. Yeah, there might be too much time between there.
True.
Some people skip weight divisions, though. I think it's a terrible idea, but it happens.
Yeah.
Was that it for rapid fire, Rob?
That was rapid fire, guys.
All right. Well, I'm hungry. It was good. I'm hungry. Let's wrap this up for everybody listening. Don't forget to check us out at Heavy Bag Boxing and all your social media, www.heavybagboxing.com. Tough Talk Tuesday. We air 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for listening and have a good night.